The ID7 Tourer aims to offer a slightly more versatile take on Volkswagen's largest ID electric model. There's a plush compromise between a pricey large executive EV station wagon and a more compact EV estate. It certainly has its place. My name's Jonathan Crouch. I've been testing cars for over 40 years. You'll find them all on the Car and Driving Car Reviews app. Here, I'm going to try and tell you everything you really need to know about this car in a way you'll find nowhere else.
As with the hatch, there are 3 ID7 Tourer variants from which to choose. All mainstream sales will be of the 2 rear-driven versions. Both of those use a rear-mounted 286 PS motor. Either the base Pro model with a 77 kWh battery and 372 miles of range, or this Pro S version, which has a larger 86 kWh battery with 422 miles of range. That bigger 86 kWh battery is also used by the top dual-motor GTX 4Motion flagship model, which manages up to 357 miles of range and gets all-wheel drive courtesy of an extra motor at the front, and that boosts total output to 340 PS. 0 to 62 in the GTX Tourer takes just 5.5 seconds, which is just over a second quicker than the single motor models, on the way to a 112 miles an hour top speed that all ID7s share. Whatever your choice of ID7 on the move, you choose between 4 main drive mode options: Eco, Comfort, Sport and Individual. And if your Tourer features DCC, Adaptive Chassis Control, Adaptive Damping, which is optional with the single motor models, but we have that fitted here, then those settings will control ride quality too. Through the turns, this ID7 really feels its long wheelbase size and prodigious 2.2 ton curb weight, but thanks to the low centre of gravity and also to those grippy Bridgestone Potenza Sport tyres, there's plenty of cornering traction, and there's a precise feel via the vegan leather steering wheel from the bespoke variable assistance steering rack. Unlike on, say, a BMW i5 Touring, you can't add a rear wheel steering system, but thanks to the rear driven, so naturally tight turning format, this Volkswagen really doesn't need that. More significantly, unlike most rivals, but as usual with an ID model, there's very little driver control offered when it comes to regenerative braking settings. There's certainly no one pedal style driving mode. There's just the usual gear selector B setting, which noticeably increases off-throttle speed retardation. This isn't one of those estates lengthened for extra practicality over the originating hatch model. The dimensions here are actually identical to the standard ID7, 4,961 mils long, 1,862 mils wide and 1,536 mils tall. Long roof proportions are accentuated by a contrast coloured top and subtle roof rails, and the rakish silhouette delivers a sleek 0.25 CD drag factor, just 0.2 CD more than the standard model. Compared to the hatch version, this grey D-pillar trimming panel is much wider. Let's take a look inside. You're immediately struck by the feeling of quality, the rather pleasing smallness of the instrument screen, the neatness of the way that all the central console features are hidden by these twin sliding tops, and also the smartness of this twin-stitched mid-level faux leather fascia panel. Now, you wouldn't expect there to be any difference over the hatch version, but in fact there is one. There's the addition of this rear wiper control on the top of the wiper stalk. We mentioned the little instrument screen, which doesn't really need to be much larger because it's supplemented by a standard augmented reality head-up display. We haven't yet mentioned what some might see as this cabin's defining feature, this 15-inch central touchscreen situated high on the uncluttered fascia. This infotainment monitor has permanently displaying upper and lower bars, the bottom section for temperature controls, the top right configurably populated by your 5 favourite functions. Ergonomically, everything's pretty much spot on. You don't sit quite as low as you would in a combustion powered estate of this size, but for most likely owners, that extra seating height won't be unwelcome. And it plays its part in making this ID7 Tourer an exceptionally easy car to see out of, even more so than the hatch version, in fact, thanks to these large rear quarter-light windows. Right, time to look in the rear. Now, we were very impressed by the amount of back seat space on offer when we tried the ID7 hatch. And of course, nothing's changed in that regard with this Tourer model, helped by the lengthy 2,971mm wheelbase, 132mm longer than a Passat. Legroom is positively limo-like at 850mm, which is just as well because there's next to no foot space beneath the front seats. A 6-footer will be very comfortable behind a front seat occupant of the same size, and because there's a flat floor here, you can fit 3 adults back here without a problem, although the central occupant might object to this slightly raised middle cushion. There's plenty of headspace too, a little more than in the hatch because the roof here doesn't slope down quite as sharply. But just how practical is this ID7 Tourer? Well, let's finish with a look at that. The powered tailgate rises to reveal a parcel shelf that retracts back in 2 stages, and that reveals a 605-litre boot. That's only 75 litres more than you'll get with the hatch, but it is very class competitive. It's 35 litres more than you'll get in a BMW i5 Touring, for example. So it should be enough for most families. That's just as well because, as I mentioned earlier on, there's no underbonnet frunk for the charging leads. These have to go below this adjustable height floor panel here, and because of the raised height of the cargo base and the limited difference between the floor heights, they only just fit. There is a ski hatch, so longer items can be pushed forward between 2 rear-seated occupants, and there are cargo sidewall catches for when you need to flatten everything down, at which point up to 1,714 litres of space is freed up. And there's almost 2 meters of loading length. Onto battery replenishment. Volkswagen provides its EV owners with a WeCharge app, which helps them to find and use over 150,000 public charge points. Expect a 10 to 80% DC charge in the 77 kilowatt hour model to take 28 minutes from a public rapid charger. It's 26 minutes with the 2 86 kilowatt hour models. There's also battery preconditioning, which once a charger destination is programmed into the navigation system, readies the battery for maximum top speed charging capability on arrival. You can trigger that feature manually too. With the 77 kilowatt hour model, AC charging at home with a 7.4 kilowatt wall box takes 12 hours 15 minutes. You can reduce that to 8 hours by using an 11 kilowatt wall box. With the 86 kilowatt hour models, AC charging at home with a 7.4 kilowatt wall box takes 13 hours 45 minutes. You can reduce that with an 11 kilowatt wall box to 9 hours. You're obviously not going to be attracted to this car if you don't already like the ID7 hatch it's based on, but if you do and you need something a fraction more practical, an ID7 Tourer might suit you perfectly. There is just about everything here that you get from a more expensive BMW i5 Touring, and for not that much more than a well-specified Peugeot E-308 station wagon or Vauxhall Astra Electric sports tourer. It's a kind of car Volkswagen is very good at.